Howdy, folks. I'm that one piece of popcorn that refuses to pop.
I'm Amber.
And here's some Reddit. Our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for getting upset at my girlfriend for giving my mom a tattoo? I'm a 25-year-old male and my girlfriend is a 22-year-old female, and we've been together for over a year. She's covered in tattoos, which I've always liked. She's always been artistic and has been tattooing herself and her friends for years. My parents are more conservative and traditional, so when they planned a trip to visit us, I told her just to wear long clothes to cover them up. She refused, and on the day that she visited, she wore a crop top with shorts which showed off most of her tattoos. Surprise! She doesn't want to hide herself. I warned her again before they came in about this, and she just shrugged me off. I was shocked when my parents came in and just started complimenting her on the tattoos, especially my mom. My mom spent ages to her talking about tattoos, so me and dad went out to the backyard. Well, we came back in and my mom rushed up to father to show off the tattoo my girlfriend gave her. It was 4 small little flowers running up her arm, and she said it represented our family. My dad loved it, and my mom was busy telling everyone on Facebook about it. My girlfriend then came downstairs, and I asked her why she would put a tattoo on my mom without asking me. As if you aren't your mom's guardian, and your mom's over 18. And she laughed in my face and said my mom was a grown woman. Exactly. My parents then took my girlfriend's side, so I just stormed upstairs. I could hear them for hours downstairs until my parents left. It's been a few days and I can't bring myself to talk to her after she did that behind my back. All right, folks. What do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Jerk.
You know, OP, there are some things in your life that are completely outside of your control. And I think this is one of those cases where you need to take a step back and realize that sometimes things are chaotic and the world does not behave in a predictable way. You assumed your parents were going to dislike this characteristic about your girlfriend, even though you admittedly love her tattoos and love how she has covered herself in them. And you, for some reason, assumed that your parents would reject this part of her. And I think that's really unfortunate. And I mean, there are cases where this does happen. And I think that you have just seen that your parents aren't quite as conservative as what you thought. And this might be a really hard lesson to take in. This might be a really hard thing to, realize that your parents aren't quite as rigid as you expect them to be. They might have had different rules and expectations for you while you were growing up. And they expect that with the imposition of these rules that you are going to grow up and be molded in a certain way and then have the freedom to make your own choices. So I think that this might be a shock to you, but you have to remember that our parents sometimes hide things from us while we're growing up and facets about themselves because it's just kind of a part of the whole growing up process. You don't need to know everything about your parents while you're growing up. I think this was probably a shock to you, but I don't think your girlfriend is in the wrong here. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Info: why are you upset exactly? Because your grown mom didn't ask you for permission to get a tattoo, or because your experienced girlfriend agreed to give a grown woman a tattoo that wanted a tattoo? Or is it because you're upset that your parents are more open-minded than you thought? You're the jerk. You're the jerk for asking your girlfriend to cover up, for assuming your parents would be so judgmental that they would dislike her for her ink, and especially for being angry at 2 consenting grown women on what they decided to do with their bodies. Your parents might keep her and ditch you. I don't even understand why OP is mad. What's wrong with a woman getting a tattoo from a tattoo artist? And how cool is it that she immediately bonded with your girlfriend like that and surprised you with her acceptance? It sounded like OP is the conservative and traditional one, but that he's made an exception for his girlfriend and his girlfriend only. All right, folks, our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for laughing at the conversation between my sister and wife? My sister is a 16-year-old female and was visiting me, a 27-year-old male, and my wife, a 27-year-old female, last night. My wife and I are vegans. My sister is not. We were eating lunch and my sister brought her food. As we were eating, my wife started suggesting that my sister become a vegan. My sister declined respectfully. My wife didn't stop and continued insisting. She said that if my sister watches one of these slaughterhouse documentaries, she would change her mind. My sister responded that she knows what happens to animals, she doesn't need to watch it. My wife said that no, watching it is different. My sister then responds, fine, I will watch it with you, but if I don't change my mind, you will not try to convince me again. My wife likes the challenge and accepted. So we sat down and watched it. I don't know if it was intentional or not, but my sister did the "that's sad anyways" meme. She said, well, that's sad anyways, I don't care and will continue to just eat meat. Here's where I started laughing. My wife is now mad. My sister said, sorry, I'm just joking. My wife was like, you shouldn't be apologizing to me. You should be apologizing to the animals that suffer every day. My sister said, okay, sorry, cows and chickens. Here's where I laughed so much. My sister left and my wife is now mad at me for not supporting her and laughing instead. So am I the jerk? Edit, I also told my wife, why wouldn't I support you? You were asking for it. She doesn't want to be a vegan. All right, folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
You know, OP, I would have a hard time faulting you here. Your sister was trying to impose her beliefs on somebody who already said that they knew what happened. They understood the consequences of their actions here, and they said that this isn't something that will impact them or sway their belief system. And your wife refused to accept that. And so, in the end, really, I think that it's good to show people different perspectives, but you can't be angry if someone, takes in the same facts as you and maybe comes to a different conclusion. And I mean, there's always certainly room for interpretation. There's always certainly room for, disagreements. We're all human and we all have to make our own decisions about what we're comfortable with at the end of the day. And it sounds like your sister has at least given some thought to this, and as your wife has as well. So there are just sometimes people who are not going to come to consensus with their ideas, and that's human. So I don't think you're a jerk here. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, but your wife sounds insufferable. I think, that's a little harsh to say. The wife, I think, probably was trying to push her beliefs a little too much, but I think it's because she's passionate and she really cares about this. And, that's always a really hard thing to reconcile. So I don't know. Not the jerk, your sister has a sharp, hilarious sense of humor. I would have laughed too. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for being heartless to little kids and not letting a coworker who thinks she'd do better with kids take over my job? Backstory. I'm a 31-year-old male and I work at an aquarium, tour, and gift shop alongside Tim, a 35-year-old male, and Ralph, a 32-year-old male, and our manager Mike, a 32-year-old male. It seems to be a magnet for little kids, mainly from the ages of 4 to 5. I originally joined to replace the only woman on our team. My predecessor was the one that tells the 4-year-olds not to disturb the animals and not to take toys from the gift shop. When I took over, I was given Tim's job and Tim got the woman's job. 4 years ago, Tim was off work, so I had to fill his role. Everyone knows that I'm child-free and I don't like children much, but I began doing the role. I was actually fine because I wasn't as soft as some of those who came before me, who had turned a blind eye to children that were particularly adorable, and I had the heart to say no to the children. Might like this, and I have done it ever since. Well, to the main story. This year, we got a new coworker, Linda, a 29-year-old female. Linda, of course, wasn't aware of why I became the person that deals with the children when she started, and this wasn't so much of a problem as for the first few days of her being there. We only had older, easy-to-deal-with kids. Today, a mother came in with her 4-year-old girl. The girl's eyes lit up when she saw our dolphin tank, and she started jumping up and down excitedly, babbling about how much she loves them. She tried to come past the red cordons that stopped people from getting too close, so I quickly went up to the little girl and told her that she needed to stay back. The girl deflates and looks sad, and I hadn't realized that Linda has seen this, but as I walked away, she cornered me and said, "You don't have to be so mean, you could have let her." Later, I was at the exit doors of the gift shop where Linda was tilling. The same little girl and her mother comes through and the girl immediately screams happily when she sees a dolphin teddy. These teddies are extraordinarily priced, and when the mother saw the price tag, she said to her daughter, "Sorry, sweetie, we can't afford this." However, the daughter just kept hugging the dolphin toy. The mother looked helplessly at us to walk up to the little girl, and I say to the little girl, "I'm sorry, but I really can't let you have this, so I'm going to have to take it." I then pull the teddy out of her arms and she bursts into tears. The daughter runs to her mom and cries about how she misses the dolphins. The mother then comes up to the till and says, "I'm really sorry, my daughter just loves dolphins. Is there any ways I can make it cheaper?" I realize what Linda will probably say next, so I interject before she can get a word in and said, "I'm really sorry, but we can only sell them at the price they come." Once they left, Linda called me absolutely heartless and said, "Why couldn't you just let the cute little girl be happy?" I found out that she complained to Mike, which Mike only said that's the reason why I had the job, because I was good at it. Now I'm wondering if my approach was actually a good approach or if I'm just being a heartless jerk. Alright folks, what do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
OP, you are hired for a particular job and you are doing that job to its full duties, and that's really what you were supposed to be doing. Now, whether the ethics of overpriced toys should be sold for cheaper or not isn't something I'm going to get into. You did a job, you did it well, and it's unfortunate that it's going to, make poor Linda be upset that she can't have every little kid, get their way, but that's life sometimes, right? I mean, we can't always get exactly what we want, and there's always going to be another day when the little girl can come and see the dolphins, and that's just the reality of it. So I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation. I think that you're being paid to do a job, and you're not doing an unethical thing here. So I would say that if you were doing a job and it was unethical, then no, you shouldn't be doing that job. But I don't think anything inherently in what you did here was unethical. So let me know what you folks think. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk, being the bad guy to children sounds like my dream job. Wow, I mean, that not necessarily what I was expecting from the first comment. I'm currently the bad guy to adults who act like children, and it has its perks. Haha, be careful what you wish for. The parents whose kids need someone to be the bad guy are often jerks. Former preschool teacher, the parents soured me on continuing. The kids were relatively fine. Not to mention, as sad as it is that she couldn't afford it, it's good for kids to be told no. And OP seems like he's firm but gentle. He didn't yell at the kid to say back, he didn't yank the plush out of her arms or anything, and that's actually a really good point. The way OP did his job was professionally. He didn't yell at the kid and was like, "Hey, little kid, you need to get out of here," Exactly what this commenter said. It was in a fine, professional way. Alright, folks, it is tea time. Hopefully you've grabbed your drinks of tea and are ready to have a sip. Amber's got hers. I've got mine. What is too much for one, enough for two, and nothing at all for three? A secret. Not so much a joke, but a fun little riddle, maybe. I think that this would not qualify as a silly riddle, and certainly not as a super silly riddle, but a riddle nonetheless. Oh, and I totally remembered to say that I had Mega Mint tea, and this is not a recording at all from a different time that's later.
I admit as well.
Amber had mint as well. It's only like 5 minutes after I finished recording. I'm like, I never said what type of tea I have. Alright, our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for yelling at my boyfriend for making me leave my best friend's wedding?" Alright, folks, hang on to your seats. This is a wild ride. My boyfriend is 27 and I'm 26, and we've been together for 2 years. He has a good heart and normally rational, but this one issue that he expects me to accompany him in every occasion, no matter how big or small. He even went with me to my ex-boyfriend's funeral after days of begging. What? 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 We really, we're going to start off like this. I only have heard a summary from Emmer here, but we're already starting off on a great roll here. Now my best friend got married a few days ago. It was a very small and very close family, and only friends were invited. My boyfriend couldn't come because of this +1 rule. He pitched a hissy fit, saying that my best friend has no respect for my relationship, and I was shocked when he learned that I was still going to attend. He told me that if he can't go, then I'm expected to not go as well. But that this is my best friend, and I had to respect her rules. He gave me an ultimatum: either we go together or I stay home with him. I end up going because I respected my friend's rules. He was angry with me and kept calling me the entire 2-hour drive, then stopped. Later, I get a text from his friend telling me that my boyfriend got into an accident and he was taken to the hospital. I freaked out and he gave me the address, and I had to leave the wedding and told my friends why. I was there crying the entire drive home and kept calling his friend but got no response. I arrived at the hospital and asked about my boyfriend, and they checked and told me that he wasn't there. My anxiety reached 160% as I kept calling his friend one by one. I just went home and there he was along with his friend. He saw me and said that he was sorry, but it was the only thing he could do to get me home after I left him alone. After the initial shock, I just blew up yelling at him about lying and making me leave my friend's wedding and having me literally go to the hospital and freaking out because of him. I kicked his friend out and we got into an argument. He kept talking about how much I loved him, thus I left, which is my own doing, not his, and he was just trying to see if I really chose my friend's wedding over him. I said what he did was horrible and called him horrible and then went to my room. It was awful because my friends kept calling to check on him and they thought he was really at the hospital. He said I overreacted and yelled at the wrong person. Am I the jerk? Did I go too far? And info based on a request from a user. He has a history of mental health issues but got better the past few months. He also had a recent death in his family which really affected his health generally. All right, folks. What do you think of this one? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk. Run.
OP. Tests like this are cruel. They are not what good partners do. I would say that this is the grounds for ending the relationship personally. Maybe there's like couples counseling if he can never do something like this again, but I don't know. This is just a huge breach of trust, and I would not stay in this relationship. Honestly, I think that there is just too much going on here. He emotionally manipulated you, he gaslit you, he treated you extremely poorly, he blamed you, turned the script on you and said this was your own fault. The only person who is at fault here is your boyfriend. Hopefully your ex-boyfriend. He did this, and he's trying to blame you for what he did. There needs to be a time and place where, someone takes responsibility for their actions, and he needs to take responsibility for his actions, and he needs to understand what he did was wrong. I just see that this is becoming a very emotionally manipulative situation, and I don't think that that's a good place to be. If he's going to throw this much of a fit, anytime you go to an event where he's not at, think about the next time you go to an event where he can't be, and he refuses to let you go on your own. You do not need to be joined at the hip at all times with this man. It's healthy to have your own separate bubbles, it's healthy to have your own separate lives, and to have some form of intersection between those, but he does not need to be at every single thing that you're at. It shows kind of a lack of trust on his part, that he feels that he can't trust you to be alone away from him for any given time. So I do not think that he is a good individual, and I think that despite his many good characteristics and qualifications, there are probably also a lot of red flags that you may have overlooked over the years that may start to come to surface if you start to examine the past few years and look for them. So that's where I stand here. I do not think that this is a very good situation for you at all. So anyhow, take care and good luck. This is abuse. Yeah, I mean, this is abuse. OP's boyfriend doesn't love her. He loves controlling her. This is absolutely abuse, and OP hasn't gone far enough yet. Not until she's out of this toxic relationship. Not the jerk. Not the jerk, and please, please, please leave him. As though it were yesterday. What he did was heinous, a betrayal, and one of the most devious acts I have ever heard. Plus, his pals are all terrible, so he's only going to get encouragement for his destructive conduct from them. That is true. Somehow he managed to wrangle his friends into doing this as well. This is really not a good situation at all. Not the jerk, this is called coercive control and it's a form of domestic violence. You should leave for sure. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like. And if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching. I hope that you are having a great Friday so far. Today is the live stream, so if you tune in at one of these times, they're all the same time. I mean, it's not like I'm going to exist in multiple universes at different times at once, right? Well, I don't want to get into that. The 6 o'clock Eastern and all the other times. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you later. Anyhow, take care and bye. Our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Being Heartless to Little Kids? To little kids? Squeak!